A routine maintenance check of all systems will be made, certain upgrades completed, including the holodeck with which we've had problems.
I've never been very good at organizing my time off. I'm going to stroll around the ship. Something will turn up. It always does. Computer, I'd like some place to play some music. Circa 1958.
Location.
New Orleans. Bourbon Street Bar, New Orleans. Around 2 a.m.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Very good. Very good indeed. Now I'll need someone to play with. But computer, blondes and jazz seldom go together. What's a knockout like you doing in a computer-generated gin joint like this?
Waiting for you.
Waiting for me? You can't be serious.
Oh, yes, Will. I've never been more serious in my life.
What's your name? Tell me you love jazz.
My name is Minuet, and I love all jazz, except Dixieland.
I know you're a computer-generated image, but your smell, your touch, the way you feel, even the things you say and think seem so real.
Thank you.
I mean, how real are you?
As real as you need me to be.
Gentlemen, if this is what you call enhancement, you've got a gift for understatement.
Where's Commander Riker?
He's in holodeck 4, sir. Shall I call him for you?
No, I'll go down there myself. Astounding.
Captain.
Oh, I'm sorry, number one. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's all right. Come on in.
This is something I might have chosen myself. But you know, number one, some relationships just can't work.
Welcome to the 15th episode of Next Generation's First Generation, a Star Trek The Next Generation commentary podcast. We are going to be watching the episode 11001001, which introduces a couple of really interesting concepts to the show. We got a big group for you today. On my left is Sascha Shouties, my regular co-host.
Hello.
To my right, we have the return of Alex.
Hi.
And to Alex's right, it is producer and web designer Matt Kirchner.
Hello.
I like how you wave to the microphone. That's beautiful.
Well, there's no camera.
So what was the air date of this episode, Sascha?
Oh, yes. The air date of this episode was, I would have to guess, maybe sometime in 1988, February the 1st.
February 1st, the beginning of the shortest month. So,
Sorry, I thought you were going to press the button.
without further ado, we will press the button. We're watching this on the DVD. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's engage.
Beautiful shot of the ship coming in.
Yep.
The starbase here was actually borrowed from Star Trek 3, Search for Spock. It's beautiful, though.
Yeah, this is a gorgeous shot.
Little mushroomy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they've referenced the issues that were had with the holodeck in the Big Goodbye.
Originally, they wanted the Binar episode to occur before the Big Goodbye, so as an explanation as to why the holodeck went wrong, but they flipped it around.
This actually, for 1988 special effects, that looked really good. The Enterprise flying into the starbase.
I loved it. I was just flipping out when I was a kid. I'm like, you can park a ship in a ship? Oh my gosh!
Oh.
I just was bouncing off the walls when I watched this. I remember the adrenaline rush.
2 things. in Heavy Metal, there is actually the ship when they're going through the wormhole, but it's seen as part of a wreck. There's like that and Sputnik and a bunch of other...
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So most of... Oh, go ahead, your second thing.
Crap. What was that parody of this that had Tim Allen in it?
Oh, Galaxy Quest.
Yeah. The part where they're trying to park the ship without having done it for a while and they just scratch the hell out of the walls.
Yep.
Like some guy's Dodge Charger in the garage. That's the best.
This was cool. I always loved it when we got to see other Federation stations and ships.
I agree. And then this guy here is kind of mirror universe Captain Picard. Same haircut, just with a beard and a mustache.
Well, the hair's down low. Oh, yeah, same haircut.
It's like, the reverse of everybody in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Hello.
And these are, well, for all intents and purposes, they're Oompa Loompas, but we will call them Binars.
Originally they wanted to cast children, but the problem was the limitation of work hours and hiring teachers, so they decided to go for short women, and they obviously have a skull cap. And to disguise the connection of the skull cap to the neck, you'll see a strip of hair there. And they had no easy way to make up that down, so they just put on some purple wig hair and called it good.
No, I thought it was a wrinkle for a second.
Yeah, no, that's unicorn hair right there.
But the voices were dubbed by either messed with or dubbed by...
Yeah, they remastered the audio, so they just changed the tone. Actually, the audio, the sound engineering on this episode earned them an Emmy.
Which makes sense. That's all right.
Yep.
So that guy who brought the Binars on, he was the designer of the Enterprise.
What?
Yes, they just said that.
Wow.
He was the guy that basically set up all the computers to begin with.
Why didn't Geordi fall in love with him in the on the holodeck? Oh well, I'm kind of tiptoeing into season 4 there.
Yep. So the crew is going to go on basically shore leave here at this station, while the Enterprise gets looked at.
I don't get why everyone's so resistant.
Basically,
to
Riker's looking for some recreational ladies.
Yes,
He'll turn up. It always does. I am the commander of the flagship, after all.
Is he waiting to jump in?
Oh, and
or
this
trying to figure out if they're ladies?
This is weird coming up here. They're going on shore leave, and Riker is so screw it about this situation that he is going to give Wesley the bridge in a minute.
We learn nothing from Naked Now.
Yeah.
Nope, no problem. Nothing wrong here. This is the first time we see these databanks pulled apart, which is super cool.
Yeah.
It gives some explanation and guts. Kind of makes me think that the bridge has its own auxiliary processing unit right there.
Mm.
Riker's a
I'm
little
going to stroll around the
unsure.
ship. You got the bridge. Don't screw it up, Wesley. Did I make a mistake? No. Sex is in Riker's future. Riker did not make a mistake.
It's like leaving a child in a car in the parking lot. It's like the Enterprise is parked. We're going to crack a window and leave Wesley here.
It's
If
like
you
leaving
do
a toddler
that,
that
the
you know
cops are
understands
going to
exactly
nail
what
you,
keys
though.
are for.
Even if it's not a hot day, that's a very bad idea.
There is no life I know to compare.
They should let
with
Patrick
the
Stewart
body.
do that one time. He's got a good voice, too. He'd totally nail it.
No, there's no life I know to compare with holodeck recreation.
And then
Living there, I'll be free, like a Riker should be.
And you could see in him doing karaoke in Whoopi Goldberg's bar.
You could, I mean,
That'd be awesome.
Totally. So this is, like we said, episode number 15. Production code 116. The cinematography was by Edward R. Brown, featured music Ron Jones, written by Maurice Hurley and Robert Lewin, directed by Paul Lynch. Guest appearances, Carolyn McCormick as Minuet. So we actually have the names of the Binars. So this is funny. Katie Boyer plays 01. Alexandria Johnson plays 10. Iva Lane plays 00. And Kelly Ann McNally plays 11. So you have 01, 10, 00, 11. Which is... Oh, it's not the name of the episode. That would have been cool. If
Kelly Ann McNally sounds like the name of the precocious girl from Minnesota. Kelly Ann McNally's in the back seat of a chassis making out with Randy Patali.
These blues are...
Yep, these are the Parisi Square uniforms.
They're way too bright. They look like superheroes.
Huh.
Well, they are trying out for... instead of the X-Men, they're going for the Y-Women.
Is it like 0G squash or something?
Pretty much.
Yeah, they never really actually show a game of Parisi Squares.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder...
They just talk about you could get hurt really bad playing it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what they do in the future instead of like the bears, like what their mascot would be. Because you could like have infinite species to do that with.
So the lights just went off, which they're not supposed to do. You would think that the security team would immediately walk back and talk to Riker about whether or not that was...
Should we stay on board and see what's going on?
But no, they really want to play this game of Parisi Squares. So,
well, the computer just gave a great explanation of what's happening.
They were probably like, well, I mean, if we can leave Wesley in charge of the bridge, then I guess we can just go about our business too.
Bender, why are you spending so much time in the bathroom? Are you jacking on in there?
Like,
no, don't come in!
Poor Geordi. This is like why so many high school nerds didn't get laid. They're on shore leave, and Geordi's like, I'm going to teach the robot to paint.
This is a really inappropriate joke that Riker makes. The blind guy teaching a robot how to paint.
Doesn't the Vicer help him see, though?
Hey, I'm not really making fun of your disability, man. We're cool. See ya.
Well,
so he's just like a cyborg.
Yeah. Boy, he's just walking all over this ship. He was in engineering, then he's on the bridge, now he's down in sick bay.
Maybe he's feeling...
You know what he's doing? He's basically like, I'm going to bring a girl back here. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily want to bring her to my quarters. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give her a ship tour, and I need to know where I can bring her where there aren't going to be people.
Oh, there you go.
And he thought Beverly Crusher's office was going to be one of
Well, he has no idea who he's going to meet. She could be like a medical trainee, and it could be like, hey, the Enterprise has the most sophisticated sickbay of any ship on the line. You want to come visit sickbay on the Enterprise with me?
Is he just hitting on anybody?
That poor bald extra. It's like, all right, you got to walk and right into this guy. So interestingly, Dr. Crusher here is going to talk to somebody about cybernetics. Mm-hmm. Basically learn something about her commanding officer, Data.
Do you think Data would be interested in that and want to go to the same thing?
It would be like basically if you were deaf and had an amazing teacher on deafness and their rival was at this conference, and basically the minute you go in, they're like, oh, look, it's my rival's pupil. Oh. Now here's what he can't do.
So this right here is a very interesting segue into augmented reality, in my opinion. So augmented reality is where you have a device that overlays a simulation onto what's the reality going on around you.
So it's super convincing?
Well, kind of like you have your cell phone camera, right?
Yeah.
And you take a selfie and it puts things in the background that aren't really there. So the holodeck is one step to that, is they create an entire environment around you, so you can't distinguish it from the simulation to what's going on in real life. And the reason I bring this up with is because they've introduced the holodeck before a couple of times, but it always seemed kind of cheesy and campy. And though I don't think they did a very good job here, they introduce a character called Minuet, who is apparently so real that Riker starts to fall in love.
I think I actually get a couple of Kate Beaton jokes now. She makes a joke, I forget which season this is really hot alien chicks show up, and then him?
Riker.
Riker's like, I have to... I need to go to the holodeck just for 5 minutes.
Yep, that's right. He does make a couple of jokes. I wonder if this is where they got the inspiration for Krieger falling in love with a hologram that he designed. Mm-hmm. If you remember from the television show Archer. Oh, there she is.
Oh, yeah.
She's got gams!
His anime waifu.
Mm-hmm. We actually see Minuet again in season 4, where Riker has a mind messing with
Future
episode.
Tense, one of my favorite episodes of the show.
Yeah. Minuet was actually the linchpin that caused the rivals' entire narrative to fall apart.
Hmm. Oh, they also make jokes about the holodeck, but they call it something else in Red Dwarf.
What do they call it? Actual reality?
I don't think it's better than life because that's a specific game. It's... Yeah. Okay. Fully immersion. They cover the face. They got gloves. They even have a groinal attachment.
That's right. And Rimmer tried it, and he accidentally started a family of like 15 kids
or
something like that.
Because he couldn't stop imagining stuff that was realistic and depressing.
Yeah, he was a sadist.
And you could do ultimate satisfaction, and you could do regular depressing stuff, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
I love how the Binars are kind of live adapting this as it's going down.
And this was something that, the episode starts off really strong, where it's like, you can see what's going on. They're manipulating the simulation. Riker is distracted. They're talking about what they're doing, but again, Riker's distracted. They leave him there with this woman. And they talk in the movie AI, as far as artificial intelligence, like how easy this actually would be for a robot to do. Mm-hmm. Because there's just certain cues that an artificial being could give you that you would just take to mean that they were in love with you. It's like they ask this robotic woman, what is love? And she's like, fluttering my eyes, breathing heavily.
That was in the movie.
Yeah.
Huh. They also tackle this subject in Ex Machina. She seduce.
Yep.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah.
That movie is good.
Yeah.
But
she seduces her... is it TARDIS? Or you have to do a demo with a person and convince them that you're talking to an actual person even though you're not. Turret test? Yeah. Mm-hmm. She has to seduce that guy to get the hell out into the real world. And a lot of other stuff happens.
I feel... I mean, we should sort of pity the Binar aliens, because Wesley is allowed to say anything he wants to them. Uh-huh. Where it's like, these guys have jobs. They're not messing around. Uh-huh. They're there for a reason. But it's like, he really has no reason to be asking them the questions that he's asking them.
Well, he was just... Wesley's curious about who they are, what's going on. To kind of catch the audience up, the Binars explained that they have integrated circuitry and components into their body that increases communication ability between the two. So the information in the conversation can be stored and accessed later. And there is Riker's raging tromboner. right
Yep,
there.
which we will come back to many times. This is this is one of the things fans remember about the show is Riker and his
There's
trombone.
an old jazz song called Big Long Sliding Thing by Dinah Washington. Totally listen to it. There is a whole niche for old school dirty songs, which are way dirtier than rap songs of today.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
What's his name? Keith Richards wrote a whole book about that.
Yeah.
And he was on
They're all
Conan
over
O'Brien
YouTube.
promoting it years ago. One of the best Conan interviews I ever saw.
So the Binars explain that there are disadvantages to their technology dependence, which kind of hints into maybe what's going on, what are they doing to the ship.
If I was in space, I'd end up in this room all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You can do whatever you thought about before.
I was programmed to say that, that's why.
Exactly.
Oh.
Ooh, the sparkle filter. We love the sparkle filter.
Piano player tells him he said it sucks at the trombone.
Another thing in Red Dwarf, the book, not the series, the problem with being addicted to Better Than Life is you get so addicted you never want to get out of it, and your body ends up withering.
Yep, and they talk about this on this show too, holodeck.
Plus, it's drilled right into your brain, so if your friend tries to take you out of it, it takes your brainstem with it.
Yeah, so that's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, if you lay there and not move for an entire day, like you might in a hospital or in a nursing home, you lose 1% of your strength each day you're immobile. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you lay in bed for months at a time, you could wither way down to nothing.
Which is the worst. Which is the worst thing to say to a guy that's been laid up with a broken foot.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we shared that with the audience. So Pat is suffering a broken foot.
Don't bother sending me any condolences because this will have been months ago by the time you hear this episode.
It's time travel news.
You're taking off your boot next week, though.
Yes.
You got to tell us what it's all about. Oh. Oh, yeah, they're dancing.
Huh.
So, I forgot to ask where they're at.
They're in New Orleans.
They're in New Orleans, okay.
It's like Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
I think that's what it says.
Yes.
Although, real New Orleans is very, very, very dirty.
Yeah.
Really? I've never known, never been there.
I had the opportunity to go, but I didn't.
Aside from the fact that it keeps getting hit by natural disasters, there's a lot of vomit and stuff in the street. So
that's really gross.
They do what they do downtown in Seattle. They bring trucks up and they hose it down with like Pine Sol to combat the smell, even though it's disastrous to the local like water table and stuff.
On the other podcast that I appear on, Weekly Heroics, we actually talk about cleaning the streets of New Orleans in one of the episodes of Preacher. And they have the Jetsons car sounds when they drive around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, my question is it okay to make out with a hologram?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's like that joke in, he doesn't do these anymore.
This would be...
But it's not like... I mean, they'll get into this later on. So let's say Minuet, they decided to keep her on all the time. Mm-hmm. And she decided that she did not consent to Riker making out with her. So there's two options. They can go, okay, we will listen to you, or B, we will reprogram you so that you are okay with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then you start getting into what do you do with a sentient life? And Star Trek always struggles with what do you do when the holograms become aware?
Yeah, because they deal with that.
Can you make them... You could make them like a little machine to make them mobile like Rimmers so they can walk around the ship just like any other citizen.
Well,
they develop that later on, too.
And that's the
Mobile
Voyager
emitter
thing.
Yeah. So they develop later on, and I can't remember, it's 2 seasons, no, it's the next season. Season 2, where they develop consciousness, and they struggle with that. At this point, she's not self-aware.
But, okay.
She kind of is.
I play video games a lot, and I love city builder games.
Yeah.
But when I build my city in SimCity, I don't want the citizens to vote me out of office and the game shuts down because they don't like how I run I would just want to play my damn simulation.
And right now, that's up to the programmer.
But it also depends on the program, too. It's not like he's walking into a simulated grocery store, grabbing some random woman and throwing her over the counter. This program was created basically to seduce and distract him.
True.
That's what the Binars are doing. So the program is doing basically what it in a sense, wants to do. It's not like it's like, hey, create some random person. He walks up, slaps her, and drags her off somewhere. She basically came on to him in this because that's what she was created in this simulation.
Thank God he doesn't have a kink like that. That would be creepy.
Because it's, you're talking about, the purpose of it. If he were to reject her, that would be like going against the program.
Yeah.
I mean, the little pink Oompa Loompas are intentionally doing it that way.
Yeah.
Designed it that way.
Uh-oh, something's going wrong. Wesley reported it on the bridge.
Are they going to kick his ass?
Do we have to call him Captain Wesley again?
Oh, I hope not. Desserts for everyone!
Captain Picard comes back and sniffs the air.
Doogie Howser.
Wesley been sitting in my chair again.
Or that,
I'm really impressed that nobody's at duty stations here.
Because they're on shore leave.
But still, you don't just have an empty ship.
You would. So, if an aircraft carrier were at dock, you'd have the duty officer, the watch officer, and maybe a skeleton crew on board. You would not be fully functional. You'd have one of the senior staff. It could be Riker, it could be Data, it could be any of them. Is the officer of the duty officer?
Yeah.
He's in charge. Maybe a couple of essential people, engineering, operations, but not very many, just because you're at dock. You're not.
Yeah, and the course shut down.
Fair that they don't get to leave too. But
No, they did. They could have left. Remember, as Riker so coarsely put it, a blind man wanted to teach a robot to paint.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And they would. I'm assuming they have duty shifts too. So
yeah.
They do this on Outlaw Star 2 whenever they're at dock. The main AI is keeping a watch out while the people go to town, and apparently the Melfina usually hangs out too. But the problem with having the AI in charge is people can hack it if they know what they're doing.
Which is exactly what the Binars are doing here.
Yeah.
And the problem is there is a containment field problem in engineering. Data is evacuating the ship, and they're gonna scuttle the ship and let it explode, basically.
And actually, it was funny, that shot, it actually looked like those guys were in engineering.
Why did they want to do any of this, though?
They're the Binars.
yeah. So if you're in dock, you would not abandon ship. You would be ordered to disembark.
Yeah.
That's all of a sudden. There's tons of people on. What's going
Well,
on
most
here?
of these are the families.
Well,
They don't get shore leave.
Yeah, they do.
But you
They
live
can
there.
stay
It's
on
your
the
house.
Yeah, they can stay on the ship.
It's your house essentially. It's like
It's basically they're in a giant mall. It's like you can either like go home and hang out with your family, maybe like get your quarters organized for the first time.
go shopping, get things you don't have on the ship.
Or having an RV, or like going camping, even though there's like a hotel next door. You just go and crash for the night instead of having to pay like $50 a night,
Right.
even though it would be nice to have a shower.
Yeah,
And I like that little shot there. Welcome to Starbase 74, Starfleet Operations Support.
and they've probably got a lot more amenities on the space station than the ship would.
Oh yeah.
I like that Taja and Worf brought their uniforms to change back into after Parisi Squares.
Yeah. Yep.
Because if this is real time, they barely had time to start a game of Parisi Squares and change back into their uniforms.
Well, you had time to at least have 4 or 5 good songs, enough time to kiss your holodeck girlfriend and talk with the captain, and finish a painting with the robot. So, time compression is always a funny thing in these shows.
Those kind of looked like egg cells for some weird reason.
So many times, the evacuating the bridge, looking back. Wow, that was a very interesting statement by Data. I hope we're the last ones.
It's interesting because they have the ability to
Somebody
beam
was
directly
taking a
off
nap
the
or
bridge,
something.
but they went into the turbo lift to beam out.
I wonder at one point they'd just be like, okay, let's get through this, because this happens a lot.
Yeah.
So they're just like, okay, give it like 20 minutes and let's go back in there. Like, whenever somebody pulls the fire alarm in my building, we know it's a load of shit. We just have to wait for the landlord to show up.
So they don't know where the captain... Yeah. They don't know where the captain is.
Mm.
The ship is pulling out.
Crap.
I mean, you're going from just 50 some years ago where if there's a fire on a... I mean, even now. God, if there's a fire on a spaceship, everybody's dead.
Oh, yeah.
There ain't...
Well, it's pure oxygen.
Yeah.
They'd explode.
Yeah, this is only cleaned up the tiniest bit in the HD version. They definitely lit up the Enterprise quite a bit more. This looks like a CG Enterprise in this shot, not the model.
Just because it's so smooth on the outside, it needs a little bit of texture.
That's what she said.
I like it when they just kind of walk the empty corridors. That's so cool.
This is relatively convincing.
So when they add the texture to the outside of the spaceships, because you notice they didn't do that in the original series,
right?
By adding the scales to it, it's called Aztecing.
Oh, what? Wow. Wonder how it got that name. You think that the holodeck would have a...
It should, but the Binars needed to have Riker and Picard be on the ship for what they're trying to do.
Right, but more than one occasion, the ship has gone to red alert, and the people on the holodeck don't know about it.
But again, computer people, they could have isolated the holodeck, so they have no idea what's going on.
True.
Well, they actually only wanted to have either the captain or Riker be on here.
Yeah.
Well, when you bait the hook just right.
Yep.
We call this the honeypot, more or less.
Yeah, the honeypot where your dad shows up and kind of starts hitting on your girl with you.
And then there's that weird underpinning of stuff.
Look at it, they're all holding hands, being intimate, then there's just Picard sitting in the chair next to him. Hey! It's kind of fun.
Threesome!
This actually speaks a lot to William's personality. I believe that Riker's a very lonely person.
Oh gosh, yes.
And he can't commit. He can't commit to people because he's in a career where he always has to up and move. And so the people who are stationary in his life are worth so much that he does not want to ruin it with the relationship.
So,
at least that's the line with Troy and him.
Yeah, at least until the fourth movie.
So this should be...
Yeah, right.
And it would be awkward if you dated somebody on the ship and it didn't work out, and then you're kind of stuck there because everybody lives in the colony together.
What? Red alert! What's going on?
So yeah, Minuet tried to keep Riker and Picard from going back because she's part of this whole setup. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, and then it gets too expositional. Like everything
she looks pissed.
Yeah, everything that's about to happen here would have been a great mystery where you infer where the audience gets to infer what's going on rather than get told what's going on.
Gives credit to the viewer.
Yeah, and this episode really does not.
Yeah, she does look pissed.
She's gonna cold stab a bitch. I swear to God.
Have you seen this episode before, Alex?
No, but
cool.
She just looks... They're not responding to what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's go to plan B. I'm relatively solid right now.
Yeah.
And they're not paying attention
I feel
to
like
me at all.
if there was a plan B, just with how the big goodbye went, it would be like suddenly her hair would catch fire, and they would be able to put her out. Or
that is some Indiana Jones shit right there.
Yeah. That would be great. Like Belloc just comes in, like, where is it?
So she's spilling the beans. She said, yes, they programmed me to keep you here. Riker and Picard caught with their pants down.
Thank God not for real.
Or their jumpsuits unzipped. That's funny. That's not how I would pronounce that word. They say Trieste. If I read that, I would say Triste.
Yeah, I wonder if he actually interviewed for Picard.
No, because they didn't want a bald guy. I guess just a coincidence that he just looks a lot like him. Thank you, Alex. Have a cookie.
Or cheese in this case.
Yeah. I was being serious.
So, John Franks, I'm mixing names, actually said this is one of the episodes that worked well, where in season 1 they took a chance and it turned out really well. It had really positive reviews. I think they had 10.7% of households were watching this episode at this time slot, according to the Nielsen.
Well, what are you going to do on the 1st of February?
What's in the 1st of February?
Nothing. It's the dullest month.
Get ready for Black History Month. That's what everybody else does.
Valentine's Day, people, come on!
So what they just did is they just exited.
Me, I've been single since probably 2007. So suck it, Valentine's Day.
So what they did is they just exited. So what they showed as the weapons room, as opposed to what it would normally be called, the armory.
True.
Why did they clean it up?
So they are. Oh, they're doing a self-destruct, and they assume that someone's on the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We still haven't gotten the nice generic Mama Troy voice for the computer yet.
Well, we have actually. We're getting 2 different computer voices in this. Now, Majel Barrett was the computer voice for part of this episode. When it told them about what was going on with how they had left the starbase and everything, that was Majel Barrett. This male voice is just for setting up the self-destruct right now.
You think they could do better than LED lights in the display?
I know evil computers are kind of a trope in of themselves, but I can't hear one of these voiceover evil AI without thinking about GLaDOS. She's just so cold and bitchy about everything.
That's an unusually placed sign.
Yeah.
Just lights up. Not working.
They might as well just have a problem. Or, oh shit, alarm. Actually, how funny would it be if it was just something random in the hall, like wet paint or wet floor or some such shit?
There was another species, obviously not the Borg. I think it was a Voyager episode where they had a technology-obsessive race, and there were also a whole bunch of short people where the Doctor wanted to sing.
Huh. The episode where they didn't have music?
Yeah, that's the
with
one.
Paul Williams as the head of the planet with the big nose, yeah. Where did Wesley end up?
He beamed off.
Okay.
They removed him from the storyline, thank God.
They took him back to daycare.
Yeah. It's like, we're going to give up the flagship as a loss. You'll all be reassigned to different ships. It's fine. I mean, you're already at Starbase.
I was about to say, if they only had the one ship, that would suck because it would take forever to get the funding to build a new one.
I mean, it's like,
you
really...
fucked up the first one.
It's like,
That's on you.
Thank God Geordi and Data were together for that whole thing, because they'd both be facing a serious court-martial for sending Picard and Riker off to their deaths. But they can...
Oh, we'll just add that to the list of other court-martial things, you know. The base commander for bringing the Binars on there and giving them free access to the ship. His career's gone.
There they are.
Now, if we were just left with this, that they're lying there, apparently dead.
Or dying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're moving.
Well, this is a really nice power reversal, because now they don't have anybody to fight. They just have to solve the problem.
Yeah.
One thing I never liked about Star Trek is there's a big ship or there's a bad guy, and once they're conquered, everything is good.
Mm-hmm.
I like the harder issues where you have to work out the problem.
What, you want Tasha to drag him into the back room and beat the crap out of him a little bit, Vegas style?
Not really.
The ship has a back room. Best not want to see it again.
It's so easy to do. Like, bulkheads have been detached, things have been popping.
I know, it's just like snuffing out the fuse on a dynamite. Just, nope, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, now I want to watch Alien Nation.
So the Binars main computer is down.
Basically, what we thought was going to happen at Y2K happened to the Binars planet.
Mm-hmm. And they use the worst... I hate this in Star Trek, and they always blame it on a supernova. There's something wrong with the sun. And that's what's happened here. There's something going on with the Binars star that knocked their computer offline. The reason they stole the Enterprise was because the Enterprise is the largest flash drive in Starfleet, more or less.
Well, the reason that is actually kind of cool. The real reason that they stole it, and it's a real Sherlock Holmes answer, is that they think in binary. They could have asked to take the ship, but they could have said no. So they stole it in order to avoid that being the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, see? Supernova! What the heck?
And I don't like this. I do not like that they go back and she's able to explain. I mean, it would have been better if she was just like, I was just the bait. I don't know why they did this.
Or does not compute.
Yeah.
Or doesn't even know who the Binars are.
Right. Right.
It's like, I'm just the honey in the pot here.
I mean, yeah, which would have, raised the tension level up so much, but her explaining it's like, it's too much. Okay, everything's okay.
Like in Ghost in the Shell, the anime, not the crappy live version. They get this guy to plug in to the internet every few feet because he thinks his wife's cheating on him. But when the cops nail him and he goes, okay, who's your wife? Where'd you meet? When were you married? And he just draws a complete blank whenever there's a detail. He's like, I can't remember. Why can't I even remember? Because they're false memories. And he's like, will I be able to remember my real life? No. You're completely fucked. And that gives her that would give her an existential crisis.
Yeah,
right? Am I real? Am I not real? Ah!
Speaking as one of the 8 people who did see the live-action movie in the theater, that is in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I think this was kind of lazy last-minute writing. I agree with you. Yeah. That the Minuet gave them the solution. She said, take the data in the computer core and download it back to Binar and reboot the system.
So how much more interesting if instead of that conversation, this had been a conversation between Picard and this guy. It's like, okay, the Binars took us back to their homeworld, and he's like, well, tell them on the homeworld what's going on. Homeworld's off. It just was switched off. And the guy's like, well, crap, I don't know what to tell you. Again, ratcheting up the drama.
Well, can you just go down to the planet and talk to people? Assuming they're not also dead.
Now this is kind of cool that I like their solution here. It's a lot of little things. There's the name of the file, also the episode name.
No. Click and hold, number 1.
Yeah.
Click and hold.
Type in guest.
Which makes no sense. But some...
1, 2,
yeah,
3,
they
4,
wouldn't have... It's like just that, they thought that they might say no to taking them to the planet to reboot it. They certainly wouldn't have guessed that humans would act the way that they do by working together in pairs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the original plan,
And especially because they didn't want 2 of them there. That stymies the whole thing. They wanted just Riker.
Thank you, I was starting to chafe.
Yeah.
Brad, stop drooling on my shoulder.
Those are some short ladies right there.
Yep.
Yay! They saved the things.
Good point.
Conference? What do we tell them? We gotta get our story straight. Oh. But if they knew anything about the Federation, they would have asked for help.
This is a total high school kid argument, too. Why didn't you ask if you could go to the party? I thought you'd say no.
But again, it's the binary nature.
Yeah.
They believe that there was too great of a chance that if no was said, that they would completely be prevented from being able to do anything.
I know it's a little late, but I like the uniforms. So one set of Binars have a lateral and horizontal stripe on the shoulder and chest, and then the other set have these really nice swooping V-line down the center body.
And it's metallic, but it's not too shiny.
It's 80s metallic.
Yeah.
Ho!
Unless you're going by Michael Soriyama kind of chrome kind of stuff. Not that that isn't totally awesome. Not safe for work, by the way. Don't Google that at work.
Wait, is Riker... Riker was just watching Picard trying to fly the ship.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if all of a sudden you hear emergency Sascha separation in effect.
Or he just flips on the radio.
The Starbase.
Do.
Using the same shot again.
How many times can we recycle the footage?
They're like, hey, those Binars are pretty wacky. Think we'll run into them again? I'm sure we will, Mr. Riker. I'm sure we will. And you see, like, all the lights on the planet just shut off again.
But who's responsible for this? Well, I left Wesley in charge of the bridge, so...
Yep.
And everybody on that planet is just like, God damn it!
Now, what, instead of a Riker on the holodeck episode, this was a Wesley episode?
Oh, that would have been terrible.
You think? I don't know. I think that Wesley has always been underutilized or forced into situations where he should not be. Oh, it's not her.
Yeah.
Yeah, her face is off.
It's not the same actress.
No.
His heart is broken. Yeah. His has to go back to his one true love, his career.
Yeah. Where'd she go?
She went away with the Binars.
Yeah. It just the enhancements are gone.
No, it's like somebody unplugged their mod from the game and said, I'm taking it with me.
I was surprised the bar didn't go with her. So it's like a file not found kind of thing.
That seems like a real good use of your time, says Picard's face.
So you weren't down there securing the ship and making sure there were no damage or anything. You were playing in the holodeck again.
He just says some relationships just weren't meant to be.
Tell you what, Riker. I owe you a favor. Call it in the next time a girl doesn't work out with you with a girl.
Or better yet, Picard just goes, go down to deck 15 in the auxiliary sensor control room. There's a nice young intern there that is related to my cousin. Her name's Sandra.
Nothing serious. Just say hi.
And that was Star Trek.
I had a lot of fun with this episode.
I did too.
I do not regret. This is one of those rare season 1 episodes where I don't regret going back and watching it. Because we see Starbase, we see new things that we don't really get to usually see. I always like a good holodeck episode, so I'm a sucker for that.
You can put anything in it. You can think up all kinds of goofy shit and no plot holes. Just you can imagine shit.
It was a lot of fun. Yep. It was like a swing on your favorite swing. Yeah. So thank you for joining us. And we will see you on the flip side.
Bye-bye!
Bye.
Why am I interviewing you guys?
So you're the guest.
So Sascha, what is Star Trek Next Generation?
I'm the guest.
So Sascha, what is Star Trek Next Generation? We're only in the first season right now, so there's a lot that's coming down the line.
Seek us out at Next Generation's First Generation
iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Music credits include Verbal Origami Instrumental by The Impossibles, Electric Car by Poddington Bear. Music heard in this podcast can be found at freemusicarchive.org. Audio engineering by Sascha Shouties. Chief Meme Maker and episode cover credit goes to Matthew Kirshner. Logo and graphic art design credit goes to David Clawwitter. And special thanks to Patrick Delmore for working with other podcasts to make sure the good word gets out.
Do you have a podcast that you think people should be listening to? Send us your promos and we'll play them on the show. If you'd like to email the show, you can email us at nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. I've been Patrick Delmore.
And this is Sascha Shouties. Thank you very much for listening.